25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We had a guest a couple of weeks ago, Robin, and he said that he had died and gone to heaven.
Yep.
Remember? And he was on the air to talk to us about it. The disappointing part for us was we only had 10 minutes with him, and so we only got about 2 minutes of what heaven was like and 8 minutes of how he died. So it was kind of hard to ask questions. But what he said he saw included butterflies. Remember that? He said he saw butterflies in heaven. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I said to you afterwards, I said, how come it's always butterflies and bunnies? They don't see roaches and snakes in heaven. I mean, what happens to them? They go to hell?
Yeah.
Every furry, cute thing goes to heaven. Mm-hmm. Every ugly, nasty thing goes to hell.
That's right.
I don't know about that. And we have a wonderful book. It's a novel. It tells just a beautiful story. And then my notes indicate that we're also going to talk about whether animals go to heaven. So it's kind of a two-track kind of a conversation. And I'm so glad that we have Chaplain Mike Neal on for the full 25-minute segment. Senior Chaplain Mike Neal has written this beautiful book called The Miracle of Africa. And he is the senior chaplain for the Washington State Patrol and the Department of Fish and Wildlife Police. He served 30 years as a fish and wildlife officer, served 15 years as a police firearms instructor, and 16 years as a police dog handler. So he has had his time around the beasts that we love and are amazed by, I guess I would say. Senior Chaplain Mike Neal, what an honor to speak to you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Pretty good. Where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
Gig Harbor, Washington, which is near Tacoma.
Oh, goodness. You got up early. Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, the sun is just coming up. I've already been on this morning in Vermont, so yeah.
Oh, wow. You got up really early. Well,
I was on at 6 here.
So I think I want to start with the novel first, and then we'll talk about, animals and eternal life and all that. The novel is a sweet, sweet novel, and you as a man of faith,
right?
You also tell a story of a man who had no faith.
Yes, yep. It's a story about redemption.
So tell us the kind of a thumbnail sketch, I guess, of the story, and we'll take it from there.
Well, I wrote the book. I began writing the book because I met a guy who was an African hunter here in Washington State, lives in a small town called Ellensburg. He was in his 80s. He just inspired me. His wife was really the African hunter, and she had Alzheimer's, so I never got to meet Betty, but he gave me a book on the period by Teddy Roosevelt, and I started getting all these books, classic African novels, and I really enjoyed the ones with the strong woman characters, like Out of Africa by Isaac Dennis, of course. It's Karen Blixen. Mm-hmm. And then I read a book by Mary Jobe Ackley, who was married to the father of modern taxidermy, Carl Ackley, and they went on safari in the deepest part of Africa and in the Congo, and he died of the fever, and she finished his work. And then Martin and Osa Johnson, and Osa was quite an adventurous girl. Martin and Osa took newsreels back in the 20s of Africa, so if you went to the theater, you would see those pictures. And I just began to think about how this great novel story about an atheist that finds the miracle of life on safari in 1911, and with a very strong woman character. His wife's name was Betty, and they had lost a 10-year-old son, and she became very depressed, and he decided to go to Africa, become a big game hunter, and when he comes home, he falls in love with her all over again, and so it's a love story, and then she convinced. Did you get to read it?
I'm not done. Robin finished it, right? Robin
Yeah.
Finished it. Yeah. No, it's a beautifully written book, and there's a good part of. I haven't gotten to the end yet, but and we don't want any spoilers, obviously, with the novel. But is this based on anything true?
No, I just conjured it in my mind, and I began to. I did all the artwork, so every chapter has a pen and ink drawing.
Oh wow, that's yours, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I just started thinking about how this book would be, and I didn't know the characters until they came into the book. I didn't sit down and do an outline. I just started writing the story, and I let the story tell the story. I let the the characters tell the story. And it was really a gift. I believe the Holy Spirit led me through it. It answers all the big life questions.
I like the fact that it is narrated by the character named John, and that at one point in the book, John is wondering about how God feels about killing animals, and you have the character named Esther, and that's like one of my most favorite books of the Bible. And she explains it to him. That's just absolutely amazing you chose that name for her.
Yeah, I think that God led me through the whole book. It was truly a gift. The guy who edited it for me said he actually believes that the book has the ability to change a person's life.
I believe that.
Wow.
I believe that.
You know, I've often thought this, too, about animals. There was a movie with Robin Williams in it, and in the movie he dies, and he goes to heaven, and it's a very, very, very colorful place, and I don't remember the movie title or anything. I just remember that.
I can't remember the title.
But a dog comes running to him once he gets to heaven, a dog that had died.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, gosh, I hope that's true. And then I started thinking about all the roaches I've killed in my life. I thought, well, I hope they're not there.
And here's what I believe. I believe that the only reason we can't talk to animals here is because God doesn't want them to share what they know about God and their faith with us, because they have a faith that doesn't involve a choice. But humans are made in God's image. And if you knew what your dog knew about faith, if you knew, it would take your choice away. But if you knew what your dog knew about the world, I mean, imagine what they see. With their nose, they look at the world through what they smell. They smell maybe 10,000 or 1,000,000 times more than we do, and they have a completely incredible worldview, and we think they're dumb because they don't talk, but they know more about life than we do.
They do. My dog loves me. Does not love everybody, but loves me.
You walk her, you feed her.
Here's what a dog has. A dog has the ability of unconditional love. And when they look at you, they see God, because you are made in God's image. They worship you. You lock your dog in the trunk, and he will be happy 1 hour later to see you when you take him out. It's unconditional. And the Bible says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word was God. So if you look at words and you look at how words are constructed, so everything of the Spirit is backwards of the flesh. Hate, anger, malice is opposite of peace, patience, love, joy, kindness, gentleness. So
I'm guessing.
If you look at God and you turn it around backwards, DOG, it's a reflection of the kind of love God wants to have with you.
So that only works in English. In French, it would be chien, right? Chien.
Yeah.
You know, I think every language, we understand. I don't know the other languages, but I think there's amazing things in the Hebrew that point to God. I think there's amazing things in every language.
Do you know what I think? I think in having discussions with atheists and trying to, instead of trying to convince them about Jesus or even about God, I just try to convince them about intelligent design. And it is always the animals that I use, and even the plants sometimes. It is always, can you not see intelligent design there? How can you say there's no intelligent design? And I figure if I get them to that point, then maybe after that I can say, okay, now that you got that part, let's talk about God a little bit. By the way, if I'm made in the image of God, and that's why my dog loves me, that guy with the funny hat that walks down the street must not look like God, because my dog barks at him. He must look like the devil.
Well, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people packing around demons that your dog sees and you don't.
It could be, yeah.
Oh, when you did the painting for the cover of the book, did you do two of them? Because on the title page, it looks like the image is reversed on there. Did you do two or?
Caught that. No, most people wouldn't catch that, but I did two of those, and they're backwards of each other, and the colored one is Christ. It's called Courage, and the black and white one is an opposite image, And if you look at their eyes, you can see the difference between the real thing, Christ on the cover, and the inside, which is cunning, which is the evil one that wants to come and deceive and destroy.
Oh, yeah, you can see that.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see that.
There's a lot of thought behind this. Let me squeeze in a couple of phone calls before we take our break. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Chaplain Mike Neal.
Hello. Yeah, I was listening, and when he was talking about he thinks that if the animals could talk to us.
Right.
And I really believe that when God first created the mankind and the animals, and it says that God brought all the animals to Adam, and he named them all.
Yeah.
I think there was in the beginning there was a communication between God and between man and the animals, and that's why they would come to him, and that's why he could give them, Adam could give them their names. And
that's amazing insight, because I believe that too. And I believe that's how it's going to be in heaven, that we're going to have an incredible relationship, that we actually are able to communicate with animals.
I also think that continued on through up until the flood, and that's why Noah was able to get all the animals and bring them to the ark, and that there was no enmity between the man and the animals, and they had a communication between each other. And that's why it was possible for Noah to just get the animals into the ark.
Wow, that's great insight. That's really great insight.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, and then also when Christ comes back in the period that the Bible calls the millennium, it says that the lion shall lay down with the lamb, and the small child will play at the ass, and the animals and the humans will be restored to have some form of relationship and communication with each other again.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
and it also says
thank you for the call.
We will rule and reign with Christ in the heavens. So what are we going to rule over? We're not going to rule over people, but we're going to rule over all God's creation that was meant to man, that he gave to man in the very beginning.
Do you think the dinosaurs are up there too?
I do. Am I crazy or what? No. You know what? That's a question above my pay grade.
Well, I'm just hoping that they're peaceful. I saw this video on YouTube, I think it was, of this lion, and obviously the person who took the video thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to watch a lion eat a baby. Oh gosh, it was one of those.
Oh, I know it. It's heart-wrenching.
You've seen the piece? And he doesn't kill. The lion doesn't kill it. The lion plays with it, and he doesn't play with it like a cat plays with a mouse before it kills it. I mean, literally, like they were friends. Like the little thing, the little beast. It was a wildebeest, maybe.
I think so. Yeah,
I did see that.
I think it was, and they're playing, and then here comes another one, and you can hear the person with the camera go, "Uh-oh, here comes now. This one's going to eat him." No, he's playing with that one too.
Yeah.
It's an amazing. So maybe when the whole, the Lord's Prayer says, on earth as it is in heaven. I've always thought that, okay, so the way it is in heaven is how it's going to be here one day. I get to keep my little home and live in a place where I don't have to lock my doors.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think heaven is a real place, and I think God has it planned. I think when we pass on currently, we'll go to be with Christ in paradise, but that may not be heaven, but it may be kind of a place where, the kind of a place where we go for a while.
Could be like Florida.
Yeah.
Florida's that way. We come here for a while.
You say in your book that the animals are like the angels.
Yeah, right. I think they are. I think they're a physical manifestation of angels that we can't see. They're eternal. Angels are eternal, but they're not created in the image of God. But they are eternal beings. I think that's what we're seeing with animals, is that these animals are a physical manifestation of a spirit being. Same way that an angel is, and that's what I believe, that God is not going to destroy them. In fact, in Hebrews it says Christ is the heir of all things. Well, what's he heir to? You know, he doesn't want my truck or my house or my bank account, but Christ wants the heavenly things that he created here on earth, and those are the things. And in fact, I think he gives them a short lifespan so that he can pack more of them in eternity.
Oh, wow, that's very profound. You know, when I was a kid and I heard the story in Sunday school about the lady who tugs on Jesus's robe, I think, I might be getting some of this wrong, but anyway, he says, no, this isn't for you. And she says, well, can't the dogs even get some crumbs? And he goes, oh, that's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I got out of that? I got, Jesus had a dog. I didn't know that. I used to wonder. I wonder why they don't talk more about the dog, or about I mean, you hear about the donkey and you hear about, but the dog must have played a role, you know.
Well, and if animals aren't eternal, if the fish aren't eternal, when Christ called his first disciples, their nets filled up with fish, and all those fish died. So is that cruelty on the part of Jesus when after he died on the cross, and he all his buddies went fishing again, and then he made a fire and had some fish on the beach, and Peter saw him and jumped in the water and said, "It's the Lord," and swam ashore, and they went, and their nets filled up again with 153 fish. So if that goes against the nature of God, if Jesus is just destroying 153 fish, that when they die, that's the end.
Right.
When he sent the demons into the herd of pigs, and they all went off the hill.
Right.
Well, if Jesus is that cruel, no, Jesus has guy has a totally different understanding because he sees the other side of this curtain. He has a total different understanding. Jesus says, "Not one small sparrow falls to the ground apart from the will of the Father." So a bird doesn't even hit your window that's not ordained. All the days of David said, all the days of my life were written in your book before they came to be. Look, I have a 27-year-old daughter that 8 years ago on September 27th was killed on her bicycle. That's what my book is dedicated to.
Oh, man.
And it changed my life. And I don't know how I can say this, but the events that happened to me 8 years ago were the best thing that ever happened in my life. Not because it was the easiest thing or the best thing or the happiest moment in my life. No, it was because it was a trudge to the mountaintop. It was the hardest thing I ever went through. And when I came out the other side and I understood about what suffering is, it changed me, and it changed me it made me into the person I am today. Everything that's good in my life is because my wife and I lost my 27-year-old daughter.
Oh, man.
And it almost killed me.
Can I ask you something that's going to be really personal? Because now that you've shared that with us, as a man of God, at that moment, in that time period after that happened, did you question God to the point where almost you said, you know what, maybe I don't even believe you anymore? Did you start to go in that direction?
On that one, I didn't. We lost a son, infant son in 1981. I lost a herd of dogs over the years to death. I lost a police dog that was my best friend and my partner, and through a administrative thing within the agency that merged with Fisheries and Wildlife, they took my police dog away, and that's really what brought me to my knees. And when that happened, I said, from now on, my whole life, I'm never going to hold anything like that. My family, my bank account, my career, everything that I have, I will hold in an open hand to God. And vows aren't good, but I knew that I shouldn't make that vow, but I decided that that's how I would do it. And the question is, when something tragic happens in your life, you say, why? And it's followed always by me. Why me? And God says, why not you? Why is it that you shouldn't go through suffering? Why is it that you shouldn't experience life And that's what it is. It's life is about life and death. I don't believe you can really deal with life well until you are able to deal with death.
What a profound statement. No wonder your book is so beautiful. The book is called The Miracle of Africa. Mike Neal is our guest, and he's the author. And the proper way to address him is Chaplain. Am I right? Or is it Pastor? Which is better? Chaplain. Mike Neal. And we have another phone call coming in. Let's take that call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Yes,
Good.
I was hearing the pastor talking about his daughter being a born-again Christian. A lot of times Christ turned our tragedy into triumph.
Exactly.
We don't understand. A lot of people ask the question, why? I know when my mother, 86 years, she had passed, I asked the question, why not? Because, see, God had given her to us for 86 years, so we was blessed by that. So I didn't have no problem with the why not.
Yeah.
Because like, you just got to saying that sometime in his life we have to suffer things. We don't know why we suffer those things, but on the other side you come out much better because
This is a man of God speaking here.
doesn't matter how you start out, it's your ending. That's what's going to make the difference
Yeah.
in
Right.
this life and serving Christ.
I think you're absolutely right. Wow. Great call. Thank you for the call. Appreciate that.
I think one of the greatest quotes in the history of mankind was from Hamlet. Shakespeare said, "To be or not to be, that is the question." And the answer to that is not to be, but to become. That is the answer. God doesn't want us to be anything. He wants us to become, constantly changing. But we as people resist change. We don't want anything to do with it because it's painful. So we try to just be who we are and not have to become something else. But it is about becoming. It's about growing and about new things in our life, and it's about allowing God to work through us and let us become something else.
In another book we had, there was a scene where the guy was at the zoo, and he was talking to the monkeys. He was trying to get the monkeys.
Good luck with that.
He was trying to share his moment that he was having with a girlfriend or something with the monkeys. And I took that as, I do the same thing. I talk to my dog a lot. And while maybe the communication is limited, I always know what she wants. I recently found that she does not like Paul Newman cookies. I recently found
The peanut butter ones.
Anybody that thinks you can't communicate with a dog's never had a dog.
Well, this has been an enjoyable conversation, Mike. Thank you so much for being on the air with us. He sent us a book. Mike did. It's called The Miracle of Africa. It's a large, beautiful book. The illustrations are outstanding. I didn't realize you did them. And you can have the book if you call me and ask for it. 622 WOCA. The rest of us have to go buy it. Mike, how do we do that? Do you have a website?
Yeah, I have a website, MikeNeal.org, and you can find me on Facebook. We're the Washington State Chaplain Foundation. You can look at that, and you can just look me up, Mike Neal, on Facebook. Like me.
Let me give this away, and let me tell the listeners we have two of these, so we can actually give two away. Good morning. You've got one of them. Who's this?
Ken?
Ken? Do you know where we are, Ken?
Yes, I do.
Tell me the first initial of your last name.
Okay, Smith.
Smith, okay. All right, Ken Smith, you got it. It'll be waiting for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, and we do have another book, so let me give another one away. Good morning. You've got the other one. Who's this?
This is Ann, Larry, and I'm so happy I'm going to get that book.
All right, Ann, you got it. It'll be waiting for you.
Thank you so much, Larry. I'll come get it.
All right, thank you. You're going to enjoy it, and everybody else who didn't win it, definitely go get it. MikeNeal.org. Is it available as an ebook by chance?
Yeah, it is. You can find it on Amazon and Kindle.
Okay, all right, excellent. Thank you for sharing your story with us and your life story and so much wisdom in this little interview. I'm so glad you were on today. Thank you so much, Senior Chaplain Mike Neal. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, and have a good day, Robin.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The morning after a shooting rampage, Parliament